Deadly Vow by Michael Garrett Harris. November 1980. It's late night shopping in the precinct, but most of the shoppers have already made the journey home with loaded bags. Now the top floor of the multi-storey car park is almost deserted. The few remaining cars are scattered around the area, lit by regimented pools of light. 7 floors up above the ground, it's eerily quiet. There would probably be more noise filtering in from outside in the summertime. As it is, this is a cold and misty November night. In a dark corner, partly hidden behind a brick pillar, is the figure of an old woman, dressed in a long, heavy woolen coat. She's wearing a dark headscarf, loosely tied around her head, partially drooping over her face, and a large leather handbag is slung over one shoulder. She licks her lips and pulls up a sleeve to look at the time on her wristwatch. She sighs impatiently, shivers, then shuffles her feet. A faint, breathy whoosh disturbs the quiet as the lift door opens. A young lady carrying 2 bags of shopping steps out. Smartly dressed in a 3/4 length yellow coat with black faux fur matching her black high-heel shoes, she looks around cautiously, then starts clip-clopping her way across the concrete floor. The sound of her heels echoing around the floor reaches the old woman, who presses her body against the pillar, then peers around in the direction of the sound. The young lady reaches her yellow Mini and places her shopping on the ground behind it with a sigh. She reaches into her handbag and extracts a key. She opens the boot, hefts her shopping bags into it, then slams it shut. The sound echoes around the car park like a muffled gunshot. A pair of pigeons that have been resting on a roof beam flap away noisily. She moves around to the driver's door and opens it, then gasps as the old woman taps her on the shoulder. "Sorry to make you jump, my dear," the old woman says softly in a gruff voice. One hand is clutching her heart, and she has a pained expression on her partly obscured face. "I'm having a bit of a funny turn. Could you possibly run me to the hospital?" The young lady, having a caring nature, takes pity on her. She sees that there's a car parked quite closely to the passenger side of the car. She nods at the old woman. "Let's get your bag in. That looks quite heavy. Then I'll back out and you can get in a lot easier." The old woman swings a bag from her shoulder, passes it to the young lady, then steps back a pace. The young lady leans into the car and drops the handbag on the floor in front of the passenger seat, then climbs in behind the wheel. She starts the car and begins reversing out of the space, but has to stop suddenly as a police car cruises slowly past on one of their now routine tours of the car park. The policeman in the passenger seat gives her a glance, but no more than that. She doesn't look like one of the usual drug dealers or users they're on the lookout for. As the squad car moves further down to the exit ramp, the young lady reverses out a bit more, into the lane, and stops again. When the old woman doesn't open the door, she looks around, but there's no sign of her. With a shake of her head, she drives off. It's only as she's leaving the car park exit that she remembers that she still has the old woman's handbag sitting on the floor. She slides the ticket into the machine at the exit and watches the barrier rise. She decides to drop it into the police station before making her way home. A few minutes later, she pulls into the car park in front of the nearby police station. She grabs the handbag and climbs out of the Mini, then walks over to the entrance to the front office. Inside, she explains what has happened, describing the heavy-set old woman with the gruff voice, how she disappeared, leaving the handbag in the car. The police sergeant at the desk listens to the young lady's story and starts entering the details in the logbook. "Let's see if there's any identification inside, shall we?" he says, snapping the clasp open. He looks carefully inside and frowns, then opens a drawer below his desk and pulls a pair of latex gloves from a box. He puts these on before reaching slowly into the bag. His face hardens as he extracts a long-bladed knife with his fingertips, followed by a small bottle containing a clear fluid and a folded parcel of wadding. He places all the items on the desk dramatically. It looks to me, madam, like you've had a lucky escape. Thank you for bringing this in. Now I think we need to pass this over to the detectives for further investigation." He turns back to the logbook and picks up his pen. "Before you go, I just need to have some contact details in case we need to get back in touch with you." Once this is completed, the young lady in the yellow coat leaves the police station with a sigh of relief and drives home. 6 months later, a man is sitting on a bed in a quiet prison cell. He has a resigned look on his face, which is framed by straggly greying hair that circles the bald top of his head. He's reading a newspaper. The article describes his trial, detailing how fingerprints found on the knife and the bottle had led to his arrest. A woman's heavy woolen coat and headscarf found in his flat had been identified by witnesses. Previously unsolved rapes using a similar method had been matched to him, resulting in an 8-year custodial sentence. He neatly folds the newspaper and places it on the bed, patting it flat. He licks his lips and makes a silent vow never to do it again. Never to leave any clues or witnesses.